Melochim beriches Halacha Gimel. Ein Eish Yivas Torah muteros ela b'shas hashivyo. The Eish Yivas Torah is only permitted at the time of that he captures her. So we go to the Peirush. It says Shenema. It says in Devarim 21, verse 11, V'arisa b'ashivyo. You shall see while you are capturing. The Lechem Mishnah cites Rashi in Kedushin 21b. That only if he saw her to begin with and he wanted to marry her, but he took her to sell her or she should be his slave, then decided to marry her, it's forbidden. Bein Mesula, Bein Be'ula, it doesn't matter whether she was a virgin or she was a married woman, a woman that had relationships, Bein Eishes Ish, whether she was the wife of a person, She'ein Ishes Legoyim. When with regard to Jews, there's a concept of Ein Ishes Legoyim, therefore she's permitted. Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, it says Ein Isha Ela Yisrael. Isha Ela Yisrael. The concept of marriage is a Jewish concept. Oi Legoyim ala Goyim, regarding one non-Jew with regard to the other one. She'eshes Goy Asur L'Chavero Agoy. Eishes Goy is forbidden to his friend the Goy. Ve'ein lo din Eishes Ish Klapi Yisrael. But the concept of Eishes Ish is not there regarding Yisrael. V'zeu ein Ishes Legoyim. That's what it means. There's no marriage by Goyim, by non-Jews. Lechem Mishnah questions. If there's no Ishes Legoyim and she's not forbidden to the Yisrael, why ain't the Pasuk to say she's permitted? He brings a Tosfos in Kedushin 21b that answers that you need a Pasuk because it says we should have be attached to his wife and not the wife of his friend. That even the wife of a goy is forbidden to him. That the Torah permitted it by Yifas Torah, but only by Yifas Torah. Tosfos in Sanhedrin 52b says that even though that by Yisrael there's no Ishes Legoyim, she's not considered Eishes Ish to be liable for him. She's forbidden to Yisrael to take her. Only if as Torah the Torah permitted, like in Kedushin. Eishes Yifas Torah means even an Eishes Ish of a Goy. The Lechem Mishnah clarifies that Tosfos there disagree with the other Tosfos in Kedushin, that the Pasuk comes to permit the forbiddenness of having a relationship with someone else's wife. He cites from the Rambam that there's a forbiddenness by a goy as well. The Mishnah says that it would seem that Tosfos Sanhedrin agrees with him because he mentions it in his own name. But the Shar Melech infers from Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah the Torah didn't forbid only if you marry them. But if somebody has a relationship with a non-Jewish in a concept of illicit relationship, it doesn't get lashes, but Midrabanan he does get it, since that it doesn't matter. The Rambam does not differentiate between an unmarried woman with illicit relationship to a married woman to a non-Jew. That there's no forbiddenness of a non-Jewish, only midrabanan. He cites in the Rambam that there's no, as he quotes here, there's no marriage with the wife of the guy is not considered married to him regarding the Jew. He questions why they say Eishes, even that we learn from that, even if she's married. So he questions why then do you need to say even a married woman if it's in Torah it's permitted. He says Tosfos that because of a davak beishta I might have thought otherwise. He questions from the Rambam. It would seem that there's no forbiddenness there either. The Torah only said that one ben noach cannot commit adultery with another ben noach, but by Yisrael that there's no ishes to a goy. There's no Issa v'davak b'ishtoi, not b'eishes chaveroi. According to the Rambam, from the extra positive commandment that it says to forbid the wife of his friend on another goy, we learn that there's no forbiddenness to a Jew regarding the wife of a goy. And he shall desire her, even though the pasuk seems to say that she's a beautiful woman. What happens if he desires her even if she's not beautiful? She's permitted to him. Bo, her, that not two women. He's not permitted to take more than one. He'll take it to you as a wife. You shouldn't take two. You will have a relationship with one. And to take one for his father or for his brother. Like we find in Kedushin 22a. The Lechem Mishnah cites a Tosis. Tosis Shlikach Shtayim Achas Loi V'Achas Lo'Ovi V'Achas Loi V'Achas Lo'Bnoi. He does not have that text. Ki V'Lokach L'Cho means that it's permitted only one to you. And from that I know that he cannot take for his father. We understand from that. It's not two separate derivatives. Besides the Rambam, who texts Shalikach Shtei Noshim Achas L'Bnoi V'Achas Loi Achas Loi V'Achas Loi. The Ramban states specifically he shouldn't take two women, one for his son and one for himself, or one for his father, one for himself. The Ramban adds that even a woman, even when he does not take one for himself, he can't take one for his father. The Mishnah questions if he took one for his father, he's forbidden in all his situations. And he answers that according to the Rambam and the Ramban, it's mentioned one to his father, one to him. That since it's permitted for him to take one, I think he could take another one before his father. Only when he takes one alone, like his father or his brother or his son, is forbidden. So therefore, lets us know that whether he takes one for somebody else only, or whether he takes one for himself and also wants to take one for his brother or father, it's forbidden. The Rishon Gazi questions when it says one and not two. In the Bryce, it doesn't say you shouldn't have a relationship with two. Why didn't the Rambam explain like Rashi that he shouldn't take two even for servitude? And he explains that the Rambam's the opinion that since it says bo one singular only with desire, that the relationship it's only permitted one. But for be a captive, it should work it by him. He can take two. Only if it would have written bo after you'll take her, it would refer to taking, like Rashi. He shouldn't take two even for servitude. The Rambam's text is like the Yes of Tosis, meaning that he doesn't have the text that he shouldn't take one for himself and one for his father, one for himself and one for his son. And he learns bo v'lei b'chavato, he should take one, and not for the second one, he shouldn't have a relationship with two of them. But he could take them as more than one as a maidservant. So you shouldn't say that since he can take one to be a weaver and one to be a cook, and he can have a relationship with one of them, so too he can take two and he'll have a relationship with one and he'll leave one for his father. Because if he can take two, what's the difference if he's using it as a cookie or giving it to his father? Therefore it says he cannot take two and have a relationship with one of them and leave one for his father. But when his intent is not to leave it for his father, he can take two for himself. The second one is a maidservant. How do I know they can't have a relationship with her at the time of the war? Because it says veso. First he has to bring her to a place where it's free, not during the actual rampage of the war, and then have a relationship with her. Kesher Mission cites the Bryce and Kedushin 22a. That's where it says he should not force her during the war. The Rambam explains, not immediately, only when he will bring her into the city will he have a right to have a relationship with her. that we already explained that there are aim questions according to the Rambam that a relationship with a non-Jewish in an illicit relationship is forbidden only midrabanan. Therefore, why does the Torah have to tell us that you can take a Yifas Torah, but she's a non-Jewish? The Mishnah explains that to take her publicly is forbidden min Torah. Yifas Torah, the Torah permitted even when it's publicly. The Ramban and the Ritva wrote a different reason to forbid having a relationship with her in the camp of the war, because it says your encampment should be holy, and immoral act should not be found there. The Achroin, or the later commentaries, point out, according to Ramban and the Ritva, they can have a relationship with her, a known relationship outside the encampment, and then he does not transgress on this concept that the encampment should be holy. The Sifri de Beirav questions, according to Ritva, the Gemara should have said he should not have not force her in the camp, not in the war. And he answers, he explains, according to the Ritva, even outside the encampment is forbidden to do it publicly, because she is pained by that. But he should take her to a place which is modest, similar to his home. Learning Perek Ches Halacha Daled in Hilchos Melochim. HaKohen mutar b'Yifas Torah. The Kohen is permitted to have a relationship with a captive woman if for that first relationship only, because a Kohen is forbidden in the convert, and even if she converts, it'll be forbidden. Kohen is permitted to be Yifas Torah with the first relationship. The Torah only spoke about the Yetzer Hara, and just like it's permitted to Yisrael, it's permitted to a Kohen. But he can't marry her afterwards. He cannot marry afterwards because she lived with her as a married couple, because she's a convert. And even though that a Jew too cannot have a second relationship with her until she's converted, a Kohen is forbidden, because even a convert after conversion is forbidden, as we learned in Hilchos Yesodei. And so too the convertess, and the freed woman was a slave, since they're not a Bas Yisrael. As far as the Kohen is concerned, it's considered prostitution and it's forbidden. But the first relationship is permitted even to the Kohen. As the Mishnah cites Kedushin, the Kohen, what's the law regarding a beautiful woman in war? Rav says it's permitted. Shmuel also. Shmuel says it's forbidden. And in the first text there, it's explained that according to the first relationship, everyone permits. The Torah is discussing a person's desires, and the Kohen has desires as well. You only have the question by the second relationship. According to the second text there, I would say even Rav only forbids the second relationship. The first one is permitted by Rav, and Shmuel forbids the first one as well. Because the Mishnah is the opinion that the Rambam codifies the Halacha like the second, as he usually does, the second text, like Rav, that the first relationship is permitted, but the second one is definitely forbidden according to everyone. Because when Rav and Shmuel disagree, then the rule is, if it's monetary, the Halacha is like Shmuel. If it has to do with forbiddenness, such as relationships, then the Halacha is like Rav. The later commentaries question, why is a Kohen mutar with the first relationship if he's forbidden to marry her afterwards? Specifically, according to the Rambam and Halacha Beis, that the first relationship is permitted only if he's going to marry her. The Divrei Yecheskel, wants to explain that maybe only by Yisrael they can marry her afterwards. The Torah permitted the condition that and it required the condition that ultimately he will marry her. But the Kohen, since he's forbidden to marry her, she would be permitted to him even if he wanted to take her as a slave. The Rabbi Yochanan doesn't like this answer because the Gemara starts off with the Kohen's permitted with Yifas Torah is based on the basis that the Torah was stringent with Kohanim with extra mitzvahs. And it can't be because the Kohen is forbidden in a convert. Therefore, they said he could have Yifas Torah even though he cannot marry her. Therefore, he's of the opinion that the Rambam permits him to have a relationship with her only if he's thinking of marrying her, and even though he can't marry her afterwards, that's when it's permitted, but not any other way. And he changes the language of the Rambam, as if you'll see his comments on Sefer HaMitzvos.